What's poppin', y'all? It's Vanessa Squire, and I'm back to talk to you about conversations about race. Well, I'm a little bit uncomfortable engaging in conversations about race. And I don't just mean like conversations with your homies, like when you're kicking it, talking about life, talking about mutual experiences, what you all go through. I mean like national conversations about race, teaching conversations about race, ones where you have to explain to other people why you go through things or why you're perceived a certain way by the world. Conversations where you have to help someone learn. I'm a bit uncomfortable doing that, and I hope to explain a little bit why today. Let's get into it. 1, I'm still trying to wrap my head around the fact that people care and that it's such a public conversation. Let me give an analogy to kind of like probably make it easier to understand. You know, in the 5th grade, when you're told, hey, you're gonna have to write in cursive for the rest of your life, so you spend your entire life learning cursive because you're like, I have to be so good at this. And then in 6th grade, they hand you a tablet and they're like, here, actually you're not gonna write in cursive anymore, we're gonna use computers. And so everything just kind of changed within a year. That's kind of how I feel about this whole conversation about race. Like my entire life I kind of felt like, or was taught that, or just perceived the world as such that no one really cared about what I was going through because of my race. Even if that wasn't outright said, it was just not really a form of public conversation. So now all of a sudden everyone's like, BLM, we support you, we understand, we hear you, I'm reading books, I want to help you help yourself. And it's like, wait, I still know cursive. Like it's just, I can't wrap my head around it. And although I'm so happy people are engaging in the conversations, I don't want it to seem like I'm not happy people are engaging. It's still like, whoa, let me just get my bearings for a second. Let me just adjust to the fact that this is a big conversation. I wanted to decipher if you really care. Do I have to be the teacher? This has all been sprung on me as well. So it's just something that I just have to adjust my brain towards. So that's the first reason. The second reason is, what if I just didn't want to be an activist? This kind of just ties into the fact that it was all sprung on all of us just at one moment where it's just like everyone starts caring, it's a national conversation, blah, 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 everyone's understanding what's going on, and it's like, wait, I didn't plan for all this. It's same kind of with what we're doing to athletes right now. How athletics has been tied to a political statement, and the athletes are required now, even if it's not an outright requirement, to kind of make their political stances known. And it's like, wait, I just came here to play in a football game, or I just came here to play in a volleyball game. I didn't necessarily want to make this public statement. Even with the national anthem now, before you even start the game, you're making a political statement, whether you decide to kneel, whether you decide to stand. It's just like, we're all spurred into it. I think that Trump's election had a big thing to do with that, but it's almost just like, I don't know if I wanted to make this decision yet. The other is just like, based on my race and gender, you kind of already know like where I politically lie. Do you know what I'm saying? Like 93% of black women voted Democratic. Like take your pick on where I went on this one. Do you know what I'm saying? The third reason is that not all communication has to be verbal. I don't necessarily have to engage in a verbal communication to discuss my race with you, or to discuss where I politically stand, or to discuss my views on like civil rights, activism, and whatnot. For example, we can be completely silent right now, and I can walk into a room. What's the first thing you're gonna notice on me? You can just see my sweatshirt and probably assume that I'm black. 2, the Vice President of the United States went to Howard Law and is currently in the Democratic Party. Or went to Howard undergrad and is currently in the Democratic Party. You can know a lot about me before I even open my mouth. And like I said earlier, 93% of black women usually vote Democratic. It's like, do I have to talk about it? 4th is that sometimes I feel like these conversations put the pressure on me to have the answers, and I don't necessarily have all the answers. Black people aren't a monolith. Believe it or not, you all. We actually differ on a lot of things, and we don't agree all the time. The one thing that we usually agree on is like civil rights and like having rights. If you have any spare rights, you can lend us some. Brown people as well need some rights. The gays need some rights. We all need some rights if anyone would like to lend us some. But that's usually all what we agree on. And even then, sometimes we don't necessarily agree on the path on how to get there. So sometimes when people ask me these questions, I'm like, well, this is just my opinion, but this isn't necessarily the prevailing opinion, or I don't even know if there is one. So it puts a lot of pressure on me to sometimes have the answers. And I know that I want that person to leave the conversation with this knowledge so that they can like go forth in the world and like be woke. So I put that pressure on myself because I don't want to like let down anyone or contribute to like societal racism or be silent, contribute to the oppressor, like, you know, all the things you see on Twitter and Instagram. It gets stressful. And the fifth is pretty easy and pretty simple. I'm not going to engage in conversations about race with people that I don't have other conversations with. Meaning that it's very uncomfortable for me to just jump into a conversation about race. Like if we don't talk about our lives, I don't know you, I don't talk to you about other things like sports, movies, the mall. Like it's difficult for me to just talk to you about something so intimate and personal when we don't talk about anything else. And that's just a personality trait. That's just like who I am as a person. I don't like to talk to a lot of people about intimate details if I don't know them. And so now we just have to talk about race. It's just a bit alarming and a lot to adjust to. And so I guess that's on me. I guess it's on us to just be more understanding as human beings. But are there other people out there that kind of feel the same way? I think that it's amazing that race has become a national conversation. Even now with the vice president being black and being a black woman, I think, and a brown woman being an Indian woman, I think it's absolutely amazing that we're able to see people that look like this in positions of power, because it trains your mind to think that people can do it, and young people think they can do it as well. And I just think that that's very important for us as a society, as we're growing together, as we're learning each other. And I think that national conversations about race are really, really important. But just be mindful. Nobody wants to feel like they're the go-to person on race. For example, I love analogies. Here's another analogy. You know, in the class, when you're in a classroom and then like a topic about like something comes up, for example, like slavery, you're the only black person in the class or the only minority in the class, and everyone looks to you and you're like, so, what do you think? And you're like, what? Are you just asking me this because I'm the only black person in the room? Or like if an issue about gender comes up and you're the only woman in the room, you're like, are you just asking me this because I'm the only woman in the room? So just be mindful that you're not making a person feel that way. And if you do that, then I'll talk to you about race.